You know, he might have a black girlfriend or two that made him some Kool-Aid every now and then, and they think they can cross the line, and they can't.
Racist to a point.
That you inherited a racial bias.
I would say that is very fair, but you can break the cycle. And that's what everybody needs to know. You can break this cycle and become a better person, become who you're meant to be instead of who you're supposed to.
Ice Cube just exposed Hulk Hogan and straight up called him a prejudice fraud and put WWE on blast for covering it up for decades. While the internet was out here fake crying over Hogan, Cube wasn't having it. He came out swinging, saying loud and clear, this man hated black people. And no, it ain't just about that one Nord scandal from a decade ago. Cube said it's way deeper. This goes all the way back to the 80s and 90s when Hogan was already dropping prejudice dog whistles in his promos. Back then, his whole wrestling persona was built around being this all-American hero fighting off so-called foreign villains like Iron Sheik and Kamla. Yeah, real subtle, right? Cube didn't stop there. He pointed fingers right at WWE for playing both sides.
In WCW, we take what we want, and after we take Lex Luger and the job, we want the gold. Hulk Hogan, we coming for you.
When the N-word tapes dropped, they yanked Hogan out the Hall of Fame and scrubbed his name from the website. But just a few years later, boom, he's back like nothing happened. And now they're out here pushing this weak redemption story. WWE tried to repackage all that ethnic discrimination like it was just some little mistake. Ice Cube saw through all of it and called it what it really was, a slick corporate rebrand meant to protect Hogan and clean up their image. And let's not act like we forgot. Hulk Hogan spent years of his later life rubbing shoulders with actual KKK members. Yes, real ones. While pushing his beer brand, this man was hanging with full-blown hate group types. And people still want to act surprised. Ice Cube ain't singing his praises. Come on now. Cube's not just skipping the tribute posts. He's going for the whole system. He's accusing WWE of pulling off one of the biggest racial cover-ups in entertainment history. He's saying they didn't just protect Hogan. They helped hide years of ethnic discrimination behind red, white, and blue tights and catchy slogans.
I think Hulk Hogan got booed out the building.
I was one of them. I'll show you the video.
Really?
Yeah.
What was that about?
Me, Eric Andre, and Wale was giving it to him.
I love it.
Absolutely, bro. Yeah, I don't, you know.
But why though? Oh, so if you don't mind me asking, but why?
This hating.
Okay.
Okay.
The racism, bro.
Yeah.
Just.
So when the news dropped about Hogan's death, Ice Cube didn't say rip or call him a wrestling icon. Nah, Cube went straight to the point. He posted, funny how y'all remember the leg drops and the catchphrases, but forget the ethnic discrimination. That hit like a punch to the gut and it set the internet on fire. Whether that post was based on facts or just Ice Cube speaking from the heart, that's up to you to decide. But one thing's for sure, it shook the timeline because Cube ain't just some random voice. He's a hip-hop legend, an original in the game, and someone who's lived through watching how ethnic discrimination gets excused, flipped, and even turned into profit. Meanwhile, celebs like Steve Harvey are out here, capping for Hogan now. Cubs, calling it out while others are trying to clean it up. Ice Cube is out here demanding receipts. He's calling WWE a straight-up PR machine, not for wrestling, but for whitewashed ethnic discrimination, and he's warning everybody, don't fall for that fake legacy spin they're pushing around Hulk Hogan. Cube's message, don't let nostalgia blind you to the truth. And guess what? Cube ain't out here solo. His son SheaJacksonJr. been saying the same thing for years.
It's been used as a weapon against us by white people. And we're not gonna let that happen again.
Way back in 2015 when that N-word tape dropped and shook the internet, O'Shea pulled up to WWE Raw and actually booed Hulk Hogan. When people asked why he did it, he didn't dance around the answer. He said it's ethnic discrimination. And point blank. No fluff. No sugarcoating. Fast forward to now. When the news broke that Hulk Hogan died at 71, O'Shea kept it cold and real. He went on X and posted holyish. That was it. No fake love, no forced tribute, just raw honesty. But Hogan's fans weren't having it. They came for him immediately. One fired back. You was talking all that is. Now apologize. Another tried to defend Hogan with Hulk Hogan is the reason wrestling is what it is today.
Do I forgive him? Yeah. Do I think his career should be ruined because of it? No, I don't.
Because if we ruining people's career for that word right there, ain't none of us gonna be working.
He made his mistakes. Who hasn't? Really saying he made his mistakes? Who hasn't? About Hulk Hogan? That's a wild take. And Cube's whole point is that people keep brushing off deep-rooted ethnic discrimination like it's just another minor slip-up, but let's stop pretending this was just some little slip-up. Hulk Hogan didn't just miss a call or forget to send a text. He straight up dropped the N-word multiple times while going off about not wanting his daughter dating a black man. That ain't no mistake. That's a full-on window into who he really was behind closed doors. And here's the wild part. That moment wasn't even an isolated thing. It was just one chapter in a long, ugly pattern of ethnic discrimination that went down for years, both behind the scenes and on national TV. This man didn't suddenly get caught being ignorant. He was living it out loud, and people just kept looking the other way. Let's run it back. Y'all keep erasing the timeline. So here's a reminder. In the mid-1980s, Hogan was already pushing prejudice tropes during his feud with Kamla, the so-called Ugandan giant.
Do you have any personal preference who ethnically your daughter dates?
No, I don't. Actually, the guy my daughter was dating, I liked him a lot. I'd known him for quite a while. And I was very mad at a personal situation that happened with my daughter.
Are you a racist?
No, I'm not. I'm not a racist. I never should have said what I said. It was wrong.
He wore war paint to clown Kamla's heritage, mocked his sounds like it was some kind of joke, and even talked about natives in a mumbo-jumbo pot. That wasn't wrestling. That was straight-up disrespect broadcast to millions. Then, in the early 90s during the WWF storyline with Sergeant Slaughter, who was rebranded as an Iraqi sympathizer, Hulk was once again promoted as the Defender of America. Sounds patriotic, right? But if you look closer, the message was loud and clear. Anyone foreign was the enemy, and Hogan was the white savior swooping in to save the day. It was classic coded messaging wrapped up in red, white, and blue. Now, look, some folks try to brush off the stuff from the 80s and 9 South by saying it was just wrestling gimmicks. Yeah, maybe it was part of the act, but that doesn't make it right.
I'm embarrassed by it, but a lot of people need to realize that you inherit things from your environment. And where I grew up was South Tampa, Port Tampa, and it was a really rough neighborhood, very low income. And all my friends, we greeted each other saying that word. We teased each other with that word. The word was just thrown around like it was.
Was it offensive? Absolutely. Was it prejudiced? No doubt, but back then, the whole WWF was running on wild stereotypes and cheap shock value. Hulk wasn't acting alone. The entire machine was pumping out that same toxic energy, using characters and storylines built on prejudice to hype up the crowd. But here's where the mask really came off. That leaked private tape. That wasn't no stage act. That was Terry Bell, the man behind the Hulk Hogan name, talking when the cameras weren't rolling. And what he said, it was ugly. Real ugly. He used the N-word over and over like it was nothing while ranting about not wanting his daughter dating a black man. No script, no writers, just raw, unfiltered hate. Here's how it all went down. Back in 2015, a private tape from around 2006 or 2007 got leaked, and in it, Hogan was caught going off. He said things like, "I don't want my daughter to be with no N-word, you know, unless he's a rich 8 feet tall N-word." Yeah, he really said that. He also casually dropped the line, "I guess I'm prejudiced," to a point, like it was just some throwaway comment. That tape stripped away every excuse. This wasn't about wrestling or characters or entertainment. It was about who Hulk Hogan was when he thought no one was listening during that whole leaked rant.
It's just hard to forget how detailed that rant was. And if you look up his rant, it's very, it's very detailed. And, I get a lot of people online who are like, oh, well, he would be mad if he found out about that whole generation. Yeah, well, when I find out, I'll be mad. But like right now, yeah, bro, bringing him out here, what'd you think was going to...
Hulk Hogan kept throwing around the N-word like it was part of his everyday vocabulary. Casual, no hesitation, no filter. And it wasn't just a slur. And he was making ugly, played out stereotypes about black people, too. It didn't sound like a one-time thing or some heat of the moment slip-up. It sounded like something he really believed and said without an ounce of shame. Once the tape dropped and the public got wind of it, we tried to move fast. They immediately cut ties with him, scrapped his contract, pulled his name off the Hall of Fame page, and basically acted like he vanished. But when Hulk finally came out to apologize on TV, things got real weird real fast. He called it the lowest point of his life and blamed the whole thing on how he was raised, claiming he grew up around ethnic discrimination. But then he dodged the real issue. Instead of talking about the people he hurt or owning up to what he said, the whole apology turned into a pity party. It was all about how hard it was for him, how his life changed, how bad he felt. Not once did it really feel like he was sorry for the actual words he used. And get this, during the same apology, he even said he didn't know he was being recorded. That line right there, that says everything. He wasn't upset about the hate he spilled. He was mad the world heard it. But let's be real.
That I've been through, this one hit me probably the hardest, and that's a heck of a thing to say, because I've been through a lot of crazy stuff. I was at the lowest point of my life. My personal life was destroyed. I was very mad at my daughter. I was upset over a situation that happened between her and her boyfriend, and I had no idea I was being taken.
Like, share, and subscribe. And stick around to see what's popping in our hood next. You don't want to miss what's coming.